Hey everybody, this is Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and today we've got the infotainment tour and demo on this 2022 Mazda CX-30 and its 8.8-inch infotainment display. Before we get started with all of that, let's take a walk around the CX-30 and just see what it looks like before we dive into its infotainment. Mazda's smallest SUV, the CX-30, a car that will be used by many millennials, probably, to go on many road trips, probably. So what's the most important thing to a young person when they're going on a road trip? Well, that would be the infotainment system, of course, and how well you can integrate your smartphone into it. So we'll go over all of that today in just a second, in fact. But I just wanted to give you all a visual of what the CX-30 looks like. If you're curious to learn more about the Mazda CX-30, we will have links in the description to a full review, a sound system test, fuel economy test, and if we have anything else, it'll be linked down below as well. Cool, well let's go ahead and get started and dive into this infotainment. So unlike a lot of new infotainment systems, this is not operated by touch. This is not a touch screen by any sort. As you can see, the first fingerprints added were the ones that I just added just now. This whole infotainment display is controlled by this, a knob mounted right behind our shifter here. And you can see it's set up very similar to BMW's iDrive, and I kind of don't like using that analogy because I used that analogy when this system sort of first came out, but now BMW's iDrive has evolved so much that this doesn't really remind me of a current iDrive anymore. But as you can see here, it all works with the knob. And the knob sounds quite nice as well. It makes a nice click as you turn it. Today we're going to walk you through all of these different categories in the infotainment, show you how to use a couple things, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to see how those integrate into this infotainment system as well. We've got 4 buttons that surround our dial and control knob here. The one on the top left takes you straight to your navigation. The one on the top right takes you straight to your entertainment or your music. The one on the bottom left just takes you back. It's a back button, backs you out of whatever you are in. And the one on the bottom right is a home button that will take you back to this calm clock screen, or if you tap it again, it takes you back to your 5 pillars here on the true home screen. To the right of that, we have our volume knob, which is actually in a pretty nice spot. I see a lot of people that give grief for volume knobs down here in the center area, but honestly, if you're driving with one hand here, you've got your arm rested here on your center console, the volume knob is right where your hand rests. So in some ways, it actually makes quite a bit of sense. Controls on the volume knob, of course, for volume, but also we can skip tracks here left and right by pushing the volume knob. And of course, that's an easy access for the passenger as well. All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into this infotainment system and start with the information tab. There's only a couple options in here. You can monitor your fuel efficiency. We've done 0.1 mpg, but of course we've just been sitting here idling, so I'm surprised that doesn't just say 0 mpg. Kind of cool to track this in the infotainment, but this is the only way that I've found to do this. I haven't found anything in the cluster to monitor your fuel economy. So we have it here on the infotainment. I know you guys are watching this on the center mounted GoPro, but just know top left navigation, top right entertainment, bottom right home, and bottom left is the back button. So those are the buttons that I'm operating down here, as well as this knob. Sirius XM travel link, as well as our vehicle status monitor. You can view our maintenance details and everything in there. Entertainment tab just takes you to FM, AM, Sirius XM, Bluetooth, or if you have Apple CarPlay plugged in, it'll take you to that as well. Let's go ahead and check out Sirius XM here. If you use your knob, it takes you to the different channels. Let's start on hits 1. And if you use your volume knob here, you can actually use the volume knob to navigate your Sirius XM channels to go back between live and rewind or whatever they use on Sirius XM. And if we press down on our volume knob, you can see our entertainment menu. It features all of these different settings, as well as audio settings. And if you watched Charlie's sound system review, you'll have already seen this screen. You can see our Bose Centerpoint and audio pilot. All right, let's go ahead and get out of the Entertainment tab and go down to Communication. Now, we don't have a phone Bluetooth to the car right now as we've been lining in for Apple CarPlay, but if you do Bluetooth your phone, you can see all of your contacts, texts, and other things in this menu. This is a super simple infotainment, guys. I mean, there's really not much to it. It's super easy to use. Navigation tab here, this is just Mazda's in-house navigation, of course. Zoom in and out with your big knob. This knob does quite a few things. There you go. Okay, there's your navigation screen. And finally, into our settings. This is probably the most in-depth menu on this entire thing. You can adjust your displays here if you'd like to adjust brightness of the center display without adjusting your cluster display. You can do that in here. You can mess with your contrast and all sorts of other things. Actually, let's go to the instrument cluster because I want to see. Okay, so you can actually toggle on your miles per gallon in here. I actually prefer this layout because this one is kind of weird in the way that it looks like you have two fuel gauges. I don't know if that comes through really well on camera, but you've got like a fuel gauge here that shows you your distance to empty, and then you've got a fuel gauge over here that actually shows you your fuel level. So if you go to Type 2 here in our infotainment settings, you can just get rid of that, and I think that that is actually the way that I prefer. So we're going to go ahead and leave it on that. Otherwise, connectivity, vehicle settings, safety settings, you can turn on and off your driver aids in here in this menu, parking sensors, collision avoidance, all of that sort of thing. Vehicle settings, pretty standard. Pause to read any of those that you'd like. All right, cool. So, I mean, that really sums up all of these menus. I mean, like I said, guys, a couple of times, it's such a simple and easy to use infotainment system. I know a lot of people probably don't like the fact that it's not a touchscreen, but trust me, the knob is convenient. It's in a good spot. And after living with this thing for a couple days, it really starts to make sense. So let's go ahead and dive into Apple CarPlay. This will just be a quick tour to show you how it looks on this 8.8-inch infotainment screen. Personally, I really like how they've integrated CarPlay into this screen. You can see it pops up right here on the right. You flick the knob over to the right and it puts you right into Apple CarPlay. Obviously the same way here, you use the knob to navigate all of your different apps. Let's take a look at Spotify, see how that looks on here. Fills the whole screen. The only thing I've noticed is that with Spotify, sometimes the knob can get a little bit irritating if you want to. Here, we'll go through, go into recently played. We'll just go through my liked songs. Here, we'll just start playing this. So if you want to actually navigate Spotify like this, you have to, obviously scroll through everything. And while it can be sort of irritating, the knob does react very fast. So if you want to go all the way down to like or unlike this song, you can just spam the knob real quick. And I actually did it perfect that time. It takes you down to like the song. Okay. So if you can get over the fact that you have to use the knob for everything, and oops, I just messed that up. And don't forget that you also have a back button that will take you out of whatever app you want to be in or out of. Let's take a look at Waze and see how that looks on here. Okay, not bad. Cool, well there you go. There is Apple CarPlay on the Mazda infotainment display. Now let's go ahead and unplug our iPhone and plug in our Android phone. It's everyone's favorite time of the video when I try to operate this, what is it? OnePlus Android that Charlie gave to me. All right, as you can see here, plug in the Android, start Android Auto. It should be communicating now. Cool, welcome to Android Auto. Continue, guys, it connected so fast. I barely even had to think about it. Okay, so this is not an active phone right now, so you won't be able to view Google Maps on here. Okay. So how do we work this? Okay, so one slide over for the knob takes you over here to the home screen. You can scroll through all of our different tabs here on Android Auto. Let's see, let's go into YouTube Music. All right, one day I'll listen to this song and figure out what it is. Again, use of this back button to just navigate us through these screens here. And you can see our sub screen over there on the right fits nicely into this 8.8-inch infotainment screen. All right, cool. Well, I mean, that's really it, guys. I know this is probably going to be a short video, but this is such a simple and easy to use infotainment system that, you know, that's really all it takes. Let's go ahead and go back home. Oh, interesting. Okay, so the home button actually takes you back to the Android Auto home. You got to click Mazda if you want to get back home. So wrapping up my thoughts here on this infotainment system, I've said it a million times, I really quite enjoy it. I know I often enjoy infotainment systems that feature a knob and a touchscreen, and while this one is only a knob, it doesn't bother me too much because the actual screen itself is so far away that even if it had a touchscreen feature, you would never really use it. And everything reacts really fast. I mean, there's no lag. I've had zero lag with this infotainment system this week while I've been living with the car. Got a little notifications tab over there on the right. But, I mean, really, guys, otherwise, it's a really solid infotainment system. I don't have really any complaints with this, other than that it was really hard to aim the secondary GoPro onto the screen. But good infotainment system. Mazda does a good job, keeps it simple, and sometimes simple is really all that you need. So thank you all so much for watching this infotainment demo on the Mazda CX-30. As I mentioned earlier, there will be links in the description to all of the other videos on this car if you'd like to learn more. So that'll wrap it up for us today. Thank you all again so much for watching, and as always, drive on.